those who weren't in quite such a rush, coaches proved adaptable in other ways too. Some even set about converting coaches into travelling homes. And with this transformation came a new way of life for what became known as New Age travellers.
You can pay upwards of a couple of £100 to a few thousand, of course, and still be able to get a reasonable service out of the vehicle before it finally gives up the ghost. You don't have to do much to one. You can just put down a bed base or a mattress, and you can put a couple of shelves below the windows, and that's fitted, isn't it? But that's probably not going to be very comfortable.
It seems the freedom of the hippie buses of the 60s was alive and well, but there were still the regulations of the road to contend with, and the police were not always sympathetic to their ways.
The vehicles that they used, without putting too fine a point on it, most of them were complete wrecks and were completely unroadworthy.
Police concerns would come to a head as the travellers planned to meet for the summer solstice at Stonehenge in 1985. A court injunction was issued and roadblocks set up to prevent the festival going ahead. And as during the miners' strikes, coachloads of extra police were drafted in.
The steps that had to be taken to prevent it were really a response to the declaration by the spokesman, those who come to the festival, that they were determined to ignore the injunctions. I must stress that the National Trust will continue to say that we can't have the festival on this land.
The policing of Stonehenge, which was originally Wiltshire Constabulary's responsibility, again they called on neighbouring forces to supply mutual aid because the New Age travellers were becoming so large in numbers that Wiltshire couldn't cope. So they called on forces from Hampshire, Dorset, Surrey, Sussex, the Met and one or two other forces to come and assist them in policing the hippies attending Stonehenge for the summer solstice. When these people decided to move, and they moved en masse, it's very, very difficult to just put your hand up and say you can go no further, because they're not going to take any notice of you. Full-scale plan, probably something almost as big as the miners' strike, policing-wise, was put into operation to exercise some kind of control over Stonehenge and the policing of the whole hippie convoy.
Because of the police opposition to such things in the past, we were aware that there might be legal consequences. There might be a court case where you'd be asked to move when you'd arrived. But none of us had any idea at the kind of military intervention that was about to take place.
They were pushed into a field to basically corral them to start off, so we could exercise some kind of control. Because prior to that they'd been driving through farmyards, through people's gardens.
And this was just another occasion where I thought a vehicle up ahead had just broken down, so I'd got out of my vehicle, taken the opportunity to photograph the convoy. When I heard screams and glass breaking and people running about, and with some alarm I saw a phalanx of something like 40 or 50 policemen with shields and sticks running down the vehicles ahead of me, breaking the windscreens and side windows and generally assaulting people. A bus ahead of me drove through a hole in the hedge, making that hole bigger. I saw my opportunity and took my vehicle and my family into the field to get away from the initial assault.
The peace convoy was prevented from moving, and it was only a matter of time before violence erupted.
One of the police carriers was T-boned by a single-decker coach, virtually broken in half, and the two officers inside it were quite badly injured. And it was as a direct result of that that what has now become known as the Battle of the Beanfield then kicked off.
Get out! Come in, Come on! on the deck!
It wasn't just the coaches that were attacked by the police. There were many casualties.
I was really very frightened, both for myself, my family and those that I care about around me.
Only when the initial conflict died down was the full scale of the damage clear.
It was simply to damage the vehicle beyond economic repair, such that when it got rained on after that day, that people wouldn't be able to maintain the vehicle, decommissioning the convoy.
Those who were arrested had their coaches impounded by the police. Once released, they were allowed to recover their vehicles. Few were left roadworthy.
This is my baby's bed that he was asleep in when the police broke the window. And the front of the bus, I mean, mine was probably the best bus on the circuit, and it's just been totally wrecked.
Such a violent encounter left many of the travellers' homes in pieces. Things would never be the same again for the peace convoy.
It did have a huge impact, although it didn't cure the problem completely. The year after, every vehicle that came into the county was literally taken to one side and inspected by the traffic department, and if it was deemed to be unroadworthy, then the driver, the owner, would be given a notice to get it fixed within 3 days, or he lost it.
The Battle of Beanfield all but wiped out the old coaches that were used as travelling homes. But today, a few of the hardcore travellers have managed to cling on to the coach as home and reinvented the traveller's way of life.
Hello, my name's Buzz. This is my lovely Volvo bus. It's a right old clanger. I absolutely love it. I'll show you inside.
It might be a clanger, but Buzz has converted this old holiday touring coach entirely himself.
Seats in for the crew. This is kitchen, office area, TV, seating area. Bedroom, ensuite shower. What more do you want? Luxury. Absolutely love it. Well, I've been living in coaches and trucks for 20 years, since 1990. And my mum, she just wanted to take us and show us new things and take us travelling, and just wanted us to be free and not be cooped up in a shoebox in town, basically. Well, the first coach we moved into was it was a Bedford Chinese 6. We moved from a Bender and a teepee into that, and it was like a palace. It was lovely. There was a whole of my family, my mum, me, my little brother Louis, Fawn and Hannah, my younger sister. It was like Noah's Ark with the chickens and goats. And when we moved side, we had to put all the chickens in cages and get the goat on there, and off we went. It was literally like Noah's Ark. I learned loads of things that have helped me a lot through my life that you wouldn't ever learn in school. Learned a lot about mechanics. People treated me with a lot of respect when I was younger. The same as any kids got treated. People, you don't get talked down to. It's just people teach you things and treat you like their own kid. And yeah, it really gives you that confidence when you're older and to do things. Travelled all around England, all over Ireland, been all over Europe. Everybody looks after each other. It's just like a massive family, and that's why everyone does it. That's the attraction. It's like a massive family. Everyone trusts each other. Everyone knows each other for years. It's just the way it is, and you just can't beat it. Several times tried thinking about a house, and I only have to go and visit my friend who lives in a house, and it just reminds me, I just can't do it. Just can't do it. You've got your neighbours that hate you. You can't park anywhere. There's no one. It's just couldn't do it. You're crammed in there. It's just like prison as far as I can tell. I could see myself living in a coach the rest of my life, yeah, definitely. You can move, you can choose your neighbours. Yeah, it's your own home, you own your own home. It's just freedom, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just the only way I know, really. And I love it.